Which Hugo Boss scent is the best? In this video we're going to break down the scent fragrance released so far and discuss the good, the bad and everything in between. There are some bangers in this line that are better than the rest, so make sure you watch it all. The scent line is focused around the manica fruit, which does give it a bit of uniqueness, and I do believe that note is exclusive to Boss, which might explain why there are not a lot of fragrances with it in. I will compare them, rank them and share my absolute favorite in this video. Let's get to it. Let's start with the original The Scent. It opens up in a fresh, zesty and spicy way with ginger and then changes into a fruity scent with lavender and leather, and it's softly woody. The manica fruit gives it a kind of unique fruitiness. So let's quickly talk about the manica, because pretty much the whole line is focused around it in different ways. To me it's almost like a mix of something red berry-like with a soft boozy touch and an almost tropical fruity vibe to it, but not quite. So it's not tropical fruity or boozy, but it has nuances of that. And the manica fruit together with ginger is what I think is the sort of a core scent DNA of this line, with the exception of some of the fragrances. The opening through to the mids is my favorite part of it, because that sort of a fresh and fruity combo is the most intense at that point. The original The Scent is probably the most balanced scent in the line. Overall a mass appealing masculine scent with average performance that I think works well for both work and school, as well as both formal and casual occasions. The scent intense is indeed pretty much the more intense version of the OG. It also has a kick of ginger in the opening, but it's warmer and a bit darker thanks to a dose of cardamom. So more intensely spicy and less fresh than the OG with the manica. And it's more intensely leathery and woody compared to the original. There's one difference though, and that is vanilla, which the OG doesn't have and which I feel sort of helps balance up the woodiness and the leather. Intense is for someone who loves vanilla and wants a less fresh and more warm version of the original. Performance is better than the original, and on my skin it's leaning more towards something that's strong. The sort of a darker and richer vibe of it does make it lean more towards date nights, going out or special occasions. Moving on to the Scent Private Accord. This to me is even darker, richer and warmer than the Intense, with a softer ginger in the opening. Its warmth and richness comes from a mix of coffee and cacao, which together with the manica takes it in a gourmand direction. But gourmand without sweetness. To me it's softly, almost bittersweet. Chocolatey, coffee with a dash of something creamy, and the manica with this fruitiness. All of this is balanced up by a bit of woodiness, which does give it a bit more depth. The star of the line of the manica is pushed a bit back by the coffee and cacao duo, so it's a bit less fruity. It's definitely for someone who loves cacao and coffee, and to me it has more personality than the Intense, and I do think it stands out more compared to the OG. The performance is a bit above average, but it's definitely not strong. And its warm, gourmand and woody scent definitely makes it lean more towards date nights, special occasions and going out. The Scent Absolute takes the core DNA of the original but strips away everything but ginger and manica and adds mondia root and vetiver instead. The ginger here, compared to the other three we talked about, is the most intense. And I also feel the manica is amped up in the Absolute, which does make it a great choice if you want a big dose of it. An intense dose of spicy freshness from ginger with a richer kind of fruitiness on top of a woody and slightly earthy base. This is so simple yet so good thanks to the intensity of everything. The manica pops through, the ginger is so good, and the woodiness grounds the whole thing with just the right amount of depth. Projection on my skin is a bit above average, at least for the first few hours, and the longevity is pretty good. I think it works well for both casual and formal occasions, and it's as good for date nights as it is for work or school. Pure Accord came next, and it also has a prominent dose of ginger with the manica fruit. However, there's a difference. It feels like it has some additional kind of freshness to it, and the manica in it is slightly different compared to the Absolute. And it's basically a spicy and fresh opening with ginger that changes into a fruity scent on top of suede. Think of suede as a smooth, bright and sort of a lighter kind of leather. So ginger with a bit of freshness, fruitiness and a lighter kind of leather. Pure Accord is the freshest in the line, and it's basically a slimmed down version of the original but with a twist thanks to the leather. Pure Accord can be used as an everyday kind of scent throughout the year, and the performance, at least on my skin, is around average, and I do feel it's among the weakest in the line. The follow-up Le Parfum opens up with a toned down dose of ginger together with the manica. The main stars of Le Parfum are iris, woodiness and leather together with the manica. It's powdery and fruity with what I think is a soft kind of leather and woodiness, and it's a bit sweet. The combo of powderiness and soft leather makes me put it in the same sort of a category as Boss Bottle Parfum and Tom Ford Eau d'Ambre leather. They are not the same, but they all have leather done in a sort of a soft and mass appealing way, and they are all powdery. The powdery side of Le Parfum is prominent but soft, and I think it's very different compared to fragrances like Dior Homme Intense or Valentino Homme Intense. If you love woody and powdery scents and think you would enjoy that together with a soft dose of leather and a bit of fruitiness, then this might be for you. Make sure you stay away if you don't like powdery scents. The performance on my skin is a bit above average, and the longevity is better than the projection. To me, it's got a both classy and sexy vibe, which does make it lean more towards date nights and going out. The Scent Magnetic is next, and it's also fruity and powdery, but in a very different way. It's got Brand Absolute, which brings it a different kind of soft powderiness, and the Maninka is really pushed to the background. It also has a big dose of vanilla, which basically makes this a vanillic and powdery scent that's softly fruity and a bit sweet. To me, its powdery side is definitely not of the intense kind, and quite different compared to more intensely powdery fragrances like Dior Homme Intense, Uomo Intense or L'Homme Intense. Now the whole line is quite a mass appealing one, but Magnetic is without a single doubt the most mass appealing one. Magnetic is a wicked compliment getter and a very easy to like kind of scent. I think it's great as it is, but I'm so curious on what it would have smelled like with a more intense dose of that Maninka. The performance is above average and sort of similar to most of the others in the line. Its sexy and flirty vibe definitely makes it lean more towards date nights and going out, but this is such a likable scent that it works for most casual and formal occasions. The newer Elixir opens up with intense but smooth spiciness together with what I think is a fantastic dose of lavender. I love lavender in fragrances and it's a common note, but I do think there is at least a little bit of uniqueness to it here, especially in combination with the spiciness. Now, I said this in my review which I'm gonna link to above, so feel free to check it out. There is no mention of the Maninka fruit in the notes, but I'm picking up on a bit over here. It's not as prominent as in some of the others in the line, but there's definitely something from that sort of a core scent in here with its fruitiness and a bit of sweetness. The dry down is where you get a smooth dose of sandalwood, bringing the whole thing a bit of depth. So it's intensely spicy with a prominent dose of lavender, and it's smoothly woody with a hint of the Maninka's fruitiness. I said it before, but I gotta say it again. Kudos to Boss for creating something that's a bit unique. Performance on my skin is the best in the line, and it's both strong and long lasting without going into something that's beast mode. I think Elixir leans more towards special occasions, date nights and going out, and I do think this is a perfect scent when you want something that will make you stand out. Here are my thoughts on the primary seasons for them all. With the exception of some, I do think most can be enjoyed throughout most parts of the year except summertime. The OG and Pure Accord are definitely the two I feel are the most versatile in the line that can be used as everyday fragrances. Magnetic can be used in sort of the same way as these two, but it doesn't have the freshness of the other two, so it's not as versatile. So let's talk about the overall performance. With the exception of Pure Accord and the OG, which to me are the weakest in the line, I do feel most of them has sort of a similar performance. I do not think any of them are beast mode, and to me most of them are somewhere between average and strong. The Scent Elixir is without a single doubt the strongest in the line, so it's finally time to rank them all. My least favorite is the Scent Pure Accord. I have no idea what's going on with me and this fragrance. Sometimes I really enjoy wearing it, and sometimes I just can't spray it on. No idea what it is about it that makes that happen, but there's something in the opening through to me that I'm sometimes not in the mood for. I keep going back and forth between the OG and the Intense for 7th place. I do enjoy the more fruity fresh opening of the OG and the dry down of the Intense more, but I'm gonna put the OG in 7th place. It does smell good, and I do feel it's the most sort of a balanced one in the line, but I do feel the others stand out more. In 6th place comes Intense. The dry down is really nice with the vanilla Maninka combo in a spicy, leathery and woody blend, so I had a hard time trying to decide between Private Accord and the Le Parfum. These two are so different. The Parfum's powdery, fruity and leathery blend against Private Accord's chocolatey coffee vanilla blend, and I actually used them fairly equally, but I'm gonna put Le Parfum in 5th place and Private Accord on 4th, but it's very close between these. Top 3 are all fantastic scents. We have the powdery, the Scent Magnetic, the spicy and woody Elixir, and the intensely spicy and fruity Absolute. In 3rd place comes Absolute. This is so good, and I'm so so glad that I did this comparison because it reminded me of how much I enjoy it. I really like that it's hyper focused on the Maninka and an intense dose of spicy freshness. So it's between the Scent Magnetic and the Scent Elixir. The incredibly mass appealing complicated Magnetic with its powdery vanilla and the intensely spicy and smoothly woody Elixir. I think it's interesting that it comes down to these two because both of them push the Maninka to the background. But with that said, I do love the Maninka fruit and I would absolutely love to see a new The Scent that pushes the Maninka fruit to the max. If I had to choose just one of them, I would go with the Scent Elixir. I do think it has more uniqueness to it and I also think it's more intense. And the combo of intense spiciness, fresh lavender and smooth sandalwood is fantastic. With that said, and you know this if you're a subscriber, I do love Magnetic. I really want to know how you would rank these and which you think is the very best, so make sure you comment. Like and subscribe for more. Make sure you check out my other Boss Fragrance videos over there and I'll see you in the next one.